if we get 3 people to buy this exact shirt, free the little homie, free little bro, free the homie. We'll do this some justice. Clap it up. Let's go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, party people? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers, but you might be seeing this on the Identity Booth, my old podcast. It's good to be back, but you guys let me down. No, I'm just playing. We have a historic moment. We have a historic moment in history that kind of helps put on a global standard the Western world sort of on notice, as we have the first major Western country besides France. And I think maybe Spain did this, to convict and hold accountable one of the highest official in our government. My goal here is to do 2 things. One, just give you the information as we hear it and as we know of it. And 2, talk about the global effect that it's having right now. And also kind of give what this means. But I want to start off by saying flat out, let me just, if you're just here to hear what I think about it, I'll start off top. Do I think that this orange Oompa Loompa, this giblet of a turkey neck, Pomodoro head ass motherfucker is going to jail? Probably not. It would be a literal nightmare about how you would orchestrate that. And I hear people saying, well, how are you going to do security in prison? There's a whole lot of security in jail. There's guards everywhere. He would be fucking safe. He's going to be safe. But the clause with the Secret Service, like, okay, there's a clause I looked up that I believe in the Secret Service, if you lose your Secret Service status if you become a felon, but I'm not sure. So let's talk a little bit about like just what this means. Can he be on the ballot? Can he do this? Can he do all of these things? So yes, he can still be on the ballot because this is a state crime. Is there a law in New York that says felons can't serve in public office? I believe so, but that's once again on the state level. If the federal government allows felons, which they do, to hold public office, then he can still show up on the ballot. If the judge does decide to give him 93 days in jail, or 93 days or 500 days in jail, could he still be put on the ballot? Absolutely. We've had officials in this country who have been in jail when they won, and that's still something that can happen. He can literally be in jail as the government votes him into office. And at that point, we would have a nightmare of a situation that I haven't sat down and thought about this long enough, because to be honest, I didn't think they would find him guilty. I thought they would find him guilty on certain things, but to find him guilty on all 34 charges, that's mind-blowing. And just so we can be clear what he was found guilty on, it's 11 charges: invoice legal services, checks paid to legal services, 11 charges, and then ledger entries for legal expenses. Invoice for Michael Cohen marked as a record of Donald J. Trump's revocable trust. So that's like when he got him to gain access to the money entry. So like these are all 34. I could go through all of them. I'll put the link in the chat for you guys and then in the description. But like I said, I kind of just want to go over what's next for him. So for sure, if you are part of Trump's campaign thingamajiggy, you'll get an email from him. He's going to ask you for money. I signed up for it just because I want to. It's important to know thy enemy. So I got an email at 8 a.m. this morning. The verdict came out, and it was kind of shocking to hear that they were going to come to a verdict today. They asked for 2 notes and recordings specifically from Peck, Mr. Pecker, or whoever it is, the CEO billionaire who owns the newspaper company. And I thought that was so strange, but they literally wanted to rehear him say, or make sure they heard it correctly, that he knew he knew that it was Donald Trump he was doing this for. And that kind of sealed the fate. And the only reason why he felt comfortable enough to speak like that, and which is crazy because that's an elite crossing the line to not protect an elite, but to basically convict him. That was the nail in the coffin. So since day four of the trial, a vast majority of what they're basically saying is since day 4 of the trial, it's been 7 weeks. That one testimony was more than enough to seal the deal. All of them at that point agreed that that was what they needed to hear. And it's very interesting to see what the jury was made up of. There was 2 lawyers, 1 CEO, and 3 CFOs. So we're talking about like people of his peers, people in the big leagues, people who are making north of $300,000 a year, easily, like bare minimum. So I was fascinated to see the jury makeup. And let's be honest. Let's be perfectly honest here. Donald Trump has to be found guilty of this. Had to be found guilty of this crime. And you're sitting here, well, why? Michael Cohen, who is the number 1 witness for the prosecution, has already served 2 years in jail, I believe. He was let out for good behavior or some shit like that, or because of the pandemic. Someone has already gone to jail for this. And that is in the world of the legal realm, that is a open and shut case. You've already convicted someone else of the crime. That means you can convict anyone else who's attached to the crime. If you can show the correlation there, it's an open shut case. And I don't care how psychotic these governors are who come to his defense, the madness that's happening in the streets of New York. You're not about to sit here and tell me the dude who was found guilty of the crime stood up and pointed to homeboy and said, that dude was doing it with me and you're not going down for that. You hitched your wagon to the wrong person. And I think there's a part of me that's like, man, I'm proud of America. Like, there are very few times I have had a reason to. You guys hear this from me all the time. Whenever I go leave the country, I'm Canadian, I'm Nigerian, I'm never American. Because if you've traveled outside, saying you're American, sounding like you're an American, people don't like us. But this right here sends a very clear message to everyone. And this is a very proud moment. If you had told me there was a world where a white man who ran for president could be convicted of a felony in America, bro, I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you. But, kudos to the justice system following through on the justice system. Is this justice system perfect? No, from a long shot. There are people who died in Rikers Island over parking tickets. A man who passed away and committed suicide because of a book bag that he never stole and they never found. So is the justice system perfect? No. 16% of death row inmates are innocent. By no means. But when it comes to white collar crime, when it comes to the business of maintaining the headlock that is America's patriotic system, we're not going to let nothing fuck that up. We're not going to let money, power, the illusion of white supremacy, none of that shit is going to stop that system, that 300-year-old plus system of derailing. And Donald Trump is the result. It's the open hand result of this. This is also essentially going to ruin his chances of winning the election, because just keeping it 100, in a world where there's 2 white guys, you're going to pick the one without the criminal record. Just keeping it 100. Like everybody's like, oh, but he beat Hillary. Yeah, that was expected. And I already said this before, that if he does become president, I mean, he can then expunge his record. But once again, if the judge decides to put him in jail, it's the minimum, I think the maximum is 4 years, and he can get a minimum of a fine all the way up to probation. Like if the judge decides to put him on house arrest, what's gonna happen, right? Like how does that work? So he can't, if the judge wanted to be an ass and say, hey, you got to be on house arrest for 6 months, then he can't campaign. He can't leave Mar-a-Lago. So is he gonna have every press conference from Mar-a-Lago? Like, but I don't see him winning. I didn't see him winning before. I don't see him winning now. And for what it's worth, he definitely bit off more than he could chew. I think if these stories had broke before the election in 2016, there's a strong likelihood he probably doesn't win. I am super proud of just the country's ability to form an idea, and God bless those goddamn those 12 jurors, because hopefully they choose to continue being anonymous and they don't want to be seen or heard. The judge gave them the right to be able to talk it. It's kind of interesting. So like for me, the 3 things that I just want to make sure we were all clear on. 1, he can still win the election. He can run for office and from prison and still win. And if he was to win, he would be based on the record from 2018 or 2017, the precedent that was set, which was no elected executive member, which is the president, can be prosecuted or held by the law while in office unless he commits crimes of high treason established in like 19 something, but it was revisited in 2017 when Trump was accused of giving away international secrets to an adversary state or adversary statehood. And the Congress, I think that was what the first impeachment was about. But they said they couldn't bring charges on him as he was a sitting president. So sitting presidents can't be charged with a crime, but a sitting president can remove a sitting president can give himself immunity. And if the sitting president can't give himself immunity, it falls to his vice president, and the vice president will always give immunity to the president. The last time we had this happen, I think, was with Richard Nixon or whatever, but he stepped down, so he wasn't forcibly removed from the presidency. I'm fascinated because the theory is now he has to pick his VP from either the state of Florida or the state of Georgia, because in both states he still has 2 federal cases. In Georgia, the intimidation call, where he literally picked up the phone and called them and said, hey, you need to find me 1 extra vote so I can win this shit. That's against the law. My man's was called in 4K for that one. That's a federal case where the minimum, if he's found guilty, is 10 years or some shit like that. And then the federal government has a case on him about keeping those files in the back. Anyway, I could talk about this shit all day, but in closing, I just want to say the power of the P, women, the power of women in this country is on another fucking level. You mean to tell me corporate juggernauts, voter fraud, he started an insurrection, whatever you want to call it. You mean to tell me a porn star, the oldest job in the book, took down the strongest man in the country? Women this is the year of women, man. Yo, y'all better show some respect for these women, because when I say the power of the P is powerful, I mean it's powerful. God damn. God damn. Could you imagine losing everything for some missionary style sex? Yo, she said he didn't even make it through the commercial. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Well, that just goes to show you, hey man, treat the women in your life good, because they could cost you everything. They could cost you everything. Nah, he did this to himself. He's a complete psychopath. But yeah, that's just my hot take on it. But I appreciate you guys indulging me on this. This isn't a political channel. I'm a political person. That's it. Jeez.